And the World Health Organization has recently classified air pollution as carcinogenic. It stated that there is, quote, sufficient evidence that exposure to outdoor air pollution causes lung cancer, and that exposure has increased significantly, particularly in rapidly industrial countries with large populations such as China. For more on China's pollution problem, we're now joined by Alvin Lin, project attorney and China Climate and Energy Policy Director. Alvin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
So, Alvin, exactly how bad is the air quality in China's major cities, and what are the causes?
It's gotten very severe. That was highlighted especially this past January and February when you had skyrocketing levels of the most dangerous air pollution, PM 2.5, in northern China, central China. So there's definitely a serious problem here. It's really attracted the attention of the highest levels of government. And so you saw that in September, the State Council, that's sort of China's cabinet, released an air pollution plan for tackling air pollution in the major cities, in Beijing, in the area around Beijing, the area around Shanghai, the Yangtze River Delta,
and
the
area what is causing
in the Pearl River Delta.
Is this all because of coal burning? What are the major causes?
Very simply, fossil fuels. And in China, that means coal. For all of the power plants, 80% of the electricity is from coal. All of the iron and steel, cement, all of these rely on coal. And your emissions from oil, petroleum, especially high sulfur diesel, and especially trucks and buses. So if you address these two issues, then you'll address a big part of the air pollution in China.
And what are the consequences? We're seeing people riding around with masks. We're hearing that you can get lung cancer from this kind of pollution. What is the overall impact that this level of pollution can have?
Well, it has huge economic impacts because of the health impacts, people being sick for work. It's led to drops in tourism for Beijing and I'm sure other parts of China. And it's making China a less attractive place for businesses. In terms of health impacts, there are studies that about 1.4 million premature deaths are caused by air pollution in China. Other international and Chinese studies have found that in northern China, which burns the most coal for heating in the winter, you have lifespans that are 5.5 years less than in southern China. So huge impacts in terms of health and environment.
A huge impact indeed. And the government is taking action. As you mentioned, the action plan for air pollution control was recently announced by China's environment minister. And that action plan will involve 1.7 trillion yuan. That's about $278 billion that will be invested in pollution controls over the next 5 years. Alvin, that is a lot of money. So how is that going to be spent?
Well, a lot of it is cleaning up the pollution from coal-fired power plants or coal-fired industrial boilers. So SO2, NO2, and particulate matter PM 2.5 reduction equipment. The other thing that I think China really needs to keep in mind is that it's really important to reduce your energy demand overall so that you're burning less coal. So energy efficiency is always a key part of this. If you have to burn less coal, then you're polluting less from coal.
What other policies are in place to help combat the situation?
Well, I guess starting with these three key areas, the Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei area, the Pearl River Delta, and the Guangdong, the Yangtze River Delta around Shanghai. They have very specific targets to reduce the PM 2.5 in these areas by 25% in Beijing, the Beijing northern area, 20% in the Shanghai area, and 15% in the Guangdong area. And they're going to do that by really making sure that these areas get enough natural gas. So they're replacing these coal-fired boilers, as you mentioned, with natural gas. Also, electricity from other provinces is being pumped in. And then renewables. They have feed-in tariffs to encourage wind, solar, and other renewables.
Alvin, if China doesn't make significant strides in tackling this problem, what do you think the consequences would be?
If they don't make significant
Right, if they don't make significant progress.
You're going to continue to see, on a local level, in these cities and in the countryside, very severe incidences of lung cancer and all kinds of other health consequences from air pollution. So that affects especially infants, pregnant women, elderly, but affects all of us, of course, who live and work in China. And I think from a more global perspective, of course, coal, oil, fossil fuels all contribute to global warming. And so there's been a lot of reporting on this very severe storm in the Philippines, this typhoon Haiyan. Scientists can't pinpoint any one incident to global warming, but they can say that the incidence of these extreme weather events will increase because of global warming.
Well, Alvin, you mentioned global warming and climate change, and President Xi and President Obama pledged this summer to work together to tackle climate change. Has there been any progress on that front?
There has been some progress. One very concrete thing is that they agreed to work on the phase down of HFCs. These are the refrigerants in our air conditioners or refrigerators that are very high global warming chemicals. So they agreed to work on the phase down of that through the Montreal Protocol, and they're trying to get the cooperation of other countries to contribute to a global phase down of these chemicals. Other things between the US and China, cooperation on energy efficiency. Again, energy efficiency is a key tool for addressing climate change. Cooperation on the smart grid. If you have a smarter grid, you can integrate greater amounts of renewables and low polluting energy sources.
Okay.
So I think these kinds of things are very important.
All right. Thank you so much, Alvin Lin, project attorney and China Climate and Energy Policy Director.